You have sat in a meeting where a senior person states something obviously incorrect. Everyone nods along, smiles, and jots it down as if it were the most brilliant insight of the week. And there you are, silently wondering, am I the only one who notices this? You stay quiet not because you agree, but because experience has taught you that speaking up carries a price. So you hold it in, and on the way home, you question whether something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Psychology actually suggests the opposite is true. The capacity to remain in a room full of consensus and still form your own conclusions is among the rarest cognitive abilities in existence. Today, I want to walk you through 5 specific things that genuinely intelligent people almost never accept at face value. Not because they are being difficult or enjoy disagreement, but because their minds are wired to push back against the exact type of thinking that most people find reassuring. Number 1, unquestioned authority. Your whole life, you have been instructed to trust whoever holds the highest position. Trust the title, the rank, the uniform, the credentials, the role. And that message gets repeated constantly for a reason. It works on the majority of people. People with high intelligence operate differently in this regard. They do not dismiss authority because they thrive on disorder. They dismiss blind authority because they grasp a fundamental truth. Most people never scrutinize a title, does not generate truth, and a position of power does not validate an idea. Research in psychology consistently connects high intelligence with what is called independent thinking, the ability to assess an idea on its logic and evidence rather than the prestige of whoever presents it. The real problem is not authority itself. The real problem is the unwritten rule that challenging authority makes you rude, troublesome, or conceited. That rule has silenced genuinely valuable ideas for centuries. Highly intelligent people refuse to let it silence theirs as well. Number 2, oversimplified solutions to complicated issues. You know that sensation when someone condenses a problem you have been wrestling with for weeks into a single sentence, and everyone around you nods as though it has been resolved, and something inside you goes still and cold. That is not impatience. That is your brain recognizing that the sentence just glossed over everything that truly matters. Reality is seldom simple, and highly intelligent people resist, almost on a physical level, any explanation that compresses a layered issue into something that fits on a bumper sticker. Research demonstrates that deeper thinkers instinctively seek nuance, multiple causes, layered reasoning, the second and third order effects that the neat answer completely overlooks. When something sounds too polished, too tidy, too easy to parrot, they assume something has been left out, because it almost always has. This makes them slower to agree, harder to sway with a single piece of evidence, and frustrating to those who just want a fast answer and a clear path forward. But it also makes them the one in the room who spots what everyone else walks right past. Here is the honest core of this discussion. There is a phrase that works like a door slamming shut in front of you 3 words. That is just how it is. For most people, that phrase ends the conversation. It signals, stop here. Go no further. This is permanent. This is simply the way things work. For highly intelligent people, that phrase functions almost like an invitation to ask what might happen if it were not that way. Psychology ties this to 2 specific traits, curiosity and cognitive flexibility, the conviction that systems can evolve. That tradition is not the same as correctness. And that permanence is usually just familiarity wearing a disguise. The price of this mindset is exhausting, because the world is packed with people deeply invested in keeping things exactly as they are. And the person who keeps asking what if tends to unsettle those people. But every system that ever improved began with someone who refused to accept that change was impossible. Number 3, their own initial reaction. This is the one most people do not anticipate. We tend to assume intelligent people are confident in their conclusions, that they reach an answer and hold firm. But one of the rarest and most genuine traits of true intelligence is this: They do not fully trust their first response. They pause. They reconsider. They examine the idea they just formed and ask, what am I overlooking? What am I assuming? What would I think if I approach this from the opposite angle? Psychologists refer to this as metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. It is the capacity to observe your own mind from a slight distance. To notice when your reasoning is being shaped by emotion, bias, or something you were told long ago that you never questioned. For most people, their inner voice feels like truth. For highly intelligent people, the inner voice is merely the starting point. Here's the reflective moment. If you have ever caught yourself mid-thought and wondered whether your belief is genuinely yours or something you absorbed without realizing it, you already understand this experience. That pause is not weakness, it is your mind performing something most minds never attempt. Number 4, social pressure masquerading as truth. You have held a belief quietly and privately for a long time, then voiced it aloud. And the room shifted not because your logic was flawed, but because it was different. And being different makes people uncomfortable in ways they do not always examine before pushing back. So you softened your stance, or retracted it, or filed it away, deciding it was not worth the friction. Here is what research actually reveals. The number of people who hold a belief has zero correlation with whether that belief is accurate. People with high intelligence are less swayed by group opinion when forming their views. They are more inclined to follow evidence toward an unpopular conclusion than to follow the crowd toward a comfortable one. This does not mean they enjoy being contrarian. It means they have learned, often through years of friction, that truth is not determined by popular vote. The real villain is the social cost of thinking independently, the quiet pressure that whispers, agree or be excluded, conform or be labeled difficult, go along or face the exhaustion of justifying yourself to people who were never genuinely asking. Highly intelligent people feel that pressure too. They simply refuse to let it be the deciding factor. What all 5 of these share in common: blind authority, oversimplified answers, fixed beliefs disguised as facts, their own unexamined first thoughts, social pressure wearing the mask of truth. None of these are things intelligent people reject because they enjoy the conflict. They reject them because they have cultivated a relationship with their own mind that most people never develop. A relationship built on one uncomfortable practice questioning, not just the world around them themselves, their assumptions, their comfort zones, the things they believe simply because they have always believed them. Intelligence is not passive. It does not sit still and absorb information. It moves. It challenges. It asks one more question when everyone else has already moved on. And if you see yourself anywhere in these 5, the question is not whether you are highly intelligent. The question is whether you are giving that intelligence the room it needs to actually function.